Okay, so today we continue Sermon on the Mount on a very, very popular Bible verse. In fact, one of the most well-known Bible verses. Okay? Matthew 7:12. Now, I don't really have structure in my head for this because there's so many things to talk about, but please bear with me because it's a very important thing. And it's something that is not as simple as it seems. It is very complicated, in my opinion. Okay, and understanding this is very crucial because if you apply this wrongly, you will run into problems in your life. Okay. Uncle Xiaoming, could you read verse 12, please, for us? The one on the screen.
Verse 12.
12.
Okay.
No problem.
In everything, treat others as you want them to treat you. For this fulfills the law and the prophets.
Yes. Okay. It doesn't translate in this version, but the Greek word for therefore is supposed to be put there. So therefore, in everything, treat others as you want them to treat you. Does anyone here not know this saying? Even if you don't know the verse, I believe it's a very well-known saying, right? I'm going to use ESV this time. Okay, and highlight. So whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the prophets. Or therefore, whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the prophets. Now, okay, I'm first going to start off with all the problems. And then we'll go through, we'll go through what are the common interpretations, then what are the problems, and then what could be more suitable interpretations. All right? So, first, I'd like to hear from you. What do you think this verse means? Just go with no answers, then I'll just offer some of the common ones.
Respecting others.
Okay.
If you want others to respect.
Okay. What else?
The same kind of like prioritization you get for your own needs. You should prioritize others' needs, like basically love others.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. Now, most common understanding, the simplest one is that this is a way to understand how you should treat others. So how you want to be treated in a situation is how you should treat others. So if they were you, if you were in their position, how would you want to be treated? In that way, you treat others.
You're putting yourself in their shoes.
Okay. Yes.
And you want them to put them in your
Right.
shoes.
And that this can really help us to understand how we should treat many people. Like, for example, if you messed up, would you want someone to be patient with you or not patient? And then right now you're in a situation where someone else messed up. So how should you react? Okay. Or let's say you're a bully. No, let someone's bullying you. Okay. All right. How should you react to that? What if you're the bully? All right. Okay. How would you want to be treated? And that this, okay, is the general understanding. The second part to it is that this fulfills the law and the prophets. What are the law and prophets? What exactly are the law and the prophets? Okay, what's the law? Yes, but that's theologically, yes, correct. But let's say just generally, what is the law itself? Like literally. Oh no, the law. This term? Okay, so when it says the law, there? Yes, Emmanuel. What is it, Emmanuel?
I am the law.
Huh, okay, yes.
I'm just
sure.
joking. Actually, it's the Mosaic law.
Okay, more specific.
The ones given to Moses. Is it the 500 laws or was it 600 laws?
Yes. Okay. So
That one,
actually,
right?
what I'm looking for is specifically the Pentateuch. the first 5 books of the Bible, the Jewish law, the mitzvot, the Mosaic laws, yes, those are part of it. There's some other things there. But basically, the law is referring to all the 600 plus laws that the Jews had to follow. Okay, the first 5 books of the Bible, that's what it refers to, the Torah. What are the prophets? All the books written of the prophets, the major and minor prophets. Okay, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Micah, Noah, Jonah, all those books. So when it says that this fulfills the law and the prophets, is that all the law, all that the law and the prophets teach, all those books can be summarized in this way, by treating others as you would want them to treat you. Okay, well, obviously, this isn't meant to summarize every doctrine. I mean, there's loving God in this world, but it's just meant to generally summarize, oh, this is what many of the laws are about loving your neighbor, and that this is how you should treat others. Okay, everyone understand? This is a general understanding. Now let's go second level, okay, of Bible interpretation. Whenever you see a so or a therefore, what does that mean? Yes, Xiaoming, you did this, right? Go up. That means this is a conclusion drawn from something. It means you need to read backwards. So this isn't a starting point. It's more like, because I like chocolates, therefore buy me chocolates. You see, you need to look at why buy me chocolates? Because I like chocolates. So why does he say this? What is the premise for this? Yes, Emmanuel, you raise your hand.
Yes, but why? What if I don't like chocolates? Oh snap!
Then too bad.
Oh, then I'll just eat it in front of your face.
I guess. Okay. We share. We share. And then we eat it in front of Kieran's face. Okay. So now the question is, what, where, or which chunk of text, or how much of the Sermon on the Mount, or which portions is it meant to be a therefore of? That's the question. So does his main point start here, and then therefore, or here, and then therefore, or here at the very start?
It could be everything.
Now I'll give you the 3 main interpretations by people. One is that it starts when he talks about Jesus fulfilling the law. Okay, why is that the case? Because in Greek, for 2 reasons. One, in Greek, there is a style of literary writing called an inclusio, where you use a term at the start of an essay and the same term at the end, or a point. And so here it talks about the law and the prophets, where Jesus says, I've come to fulfill the law of the prophets. And then later he says that this fulfills the law and the prophets. And that this verse on, so therefore whatever you would have others do, whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them. For this is the law and the prophets. So that means he's summarizing everything he's taught in the Sermon on the Mount as this. Is that the case? We'll look into that in a minute. So that's why if you watch the previous videos, it'll be good. In fact, if you've watched all of them, that's the best. If you have watched 2 at least, or 3, it'll be good enough. Then you'll be able to evaluate. You'll know what I mean. So is this meant to be a summary of all that? Now, the second one is, it starts here, judge not, that you not be judged. Okay, and the interpretation is that because this is about how you treat others, how you want to be judged, you should judge others, or you should judge others fairly. And then I don't think this is very substantial, honestly. So we're not even gonna really go into it. But it's possible that there's a pattern of how you treat others. No, how you want to be treated by others is how you should treat others. Like how you judge others should reflect how you want to be judged by others. And what you ask for, and so it's not very strong, It's a possibility, but not very strong. Now, the third one is, it starts here. Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened unto you. May I know if you two managed to watch the video on YouTube? Okay, all right. But basically, to sum it up, here in verse 7 to 11, the point here is, okay, I'll just read it. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds. And to the one who knocks, it will be opened. Or which one of you, if his son asks him for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks him for a fish, will give him a serpent? If you then, who are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father who's in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? And the point of this verse is not about nice gifts. Good gifts is beneficial gifts. This is in the context of, now that he's talking about all that the law talks about righteousness, what it really means to be a Christian, a Jew, to do the right thing, what the Old Testament really teaches. It's so difficult. You find it difficult? Okay, then therefore, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. If you ask your Father for good things, something you need, bread, to sustain yourself. Bread is often used to say things that are meant for doing righteousness, energy to do what you need to do. So then why would he give you something not beneficial? If you ask the Lord for strength to do what's right, he will help you do what's right. Good gifts. That's the point. And so the last interpretation is that this is a conclusion of that. Because the Lord will give you good gifts, therefore, treat others as you would have them treat you. Okay? Now let's go next level deeper. Now and after that, we'll go into the problems. So another thing that people have raised could be very significant about this verse is the fact that Jesus is the first person to put it in the positive. Some context. Many, many years before Jesus said this saying was actually a thing. Jesus wasn't the first person to say, treat others as you would have them treat you, or more commonly known as the golden rule. This was said by people like Confucius, he's the earliest one, many Greek philosophers, Roman philosophers, and people in Hindu religions all across the world. This was a common saying. It's nothing new. It's a well-known saying. In Jesus' case, within Israel, the ones nearby were the Greeks and a rabbi, a Jewish teacher in his time called Hillel. Okay, Hillel. Hillel was the leader of a Pharisaic group, in a sense, a denomination of Jews who believed in a school of thought. Okay, and when he was once asked by a Gentile, that he wanted to ask the Gentile to be converted to Judaism. So the Gentile asked him, I might be getting this slightly off, but the Gentile asked him to sum up the entire of what is righteousness, or what the Old Testament says, and while he is standing on one leg. So he has to finish summarizing everything it says while standing on one leg. And if he fails to, then he will get converted. And what Hillel said was, that which you would not have done to you, don't do unto your brethren. Okay, so the thing is, the unique thing is, everyone back then would always say this in the negative. What you don't want to be done to you, don't do it to others. What is hateful unto you, don't do to others. How you don't wish to be mistreated, don't do to others. How you don't wish to be accused, don't do to others. What you would not wish to be guilty of, don't make others guilty of. And so Jesus was the first one to put this in the positive. And in TLS, Mrs. Esther might have mentioned that. Now, this is good, but actually, it is only partially true. So if you do general research, quite deep research, you will find that this is true. Jesus was the first person to put it in the positive. And here's the thing, it makes a big difference. Not very big, but let's say, okay, think about it. All right, say, Kieran, let's say I tell you, don't do to others as you wouldn't want them to do to you. Let's say you're with someone Okay? If you don't want them to slap you, so then do you want people to slap you? So you won't slap others, right? But then the case is just status quo. You won't slap each other. But it's different if I tell you how you would want others to treat you, treat them. So it's more than not slapping. It's maybe shake their hand, right? Yeah, so it's more than that.
Could be like, I like to be greeted, I like to be acknowledged each time when I see
Yes.
someone.
Yeah.
That is your
Yes.
expectation.
The thing is, Jesus actually wasn't the first person to say it. If you do a lot more digging, I did a lot more digging, and I found two other people. Where's my phone? Oh dear.
Oops.
Over there. Thank you. I found two other people before Jesus who put it in the positive. So Jesus actually isn't the first one. So here's what they said. Now, the first guy was very well known, Plato. He said, "May I be of a sound mind and do to others as I would that they should do to me." That's in the positive. Another person was, I think, Socrates, if I'm right. I don't have this written down. When he was asked how he should treat their friends, then Socrates said, "As you would have them treat you." Last person is Seneca the Younger, a Roman guy, same thing. But it's treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you, in the context of slaves, how you treat your slaves. So treat your superior as you would have your superior treat you. Okay? So Jesus isn't the first one. So does that mean it doesn't matter anymore? Maybe, maybe not. Now we don't know. And here's why. Even though it's true that Jesus wasn't the first person to come up with it in a positive sense, within his geographical region, he may have been, because the only one to have said it that was Hillel. So maybe it was new where he was. And so people are, oh yeah, it's not just what I don't want to be done, but what I should do, how I should really treat others and think further ahead. Because Hillel was very popular. It's like, who's popular nowadays? Who's very influential? Jordan Peterson, maybe, or someone like that. Someone very influential. Or Joseph Prince, someone very influential. So he says something, everyone takes to it. But it's also possible that there were Greek influences, so it didn't really matter. Okay, so these are the few, if you do your general research, this is what you run into. Yes, Adam, what's up? What happens if you treat those below you right, but your higher-ups does the opposite? Okay, then that is not on your part. As in, that is not your choice of how you conduct yourself. That's their choice. So there'll be a different conversation. So
he can treat them the way, the higher ups, the way he wants the higher ups to treat him.
Yeah.
But that's not easy.
Yes. Okay. Now, everyone understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone know how to apply this?
Yeah.
Now let's get to the problems.
So did we respond to Adam's question?
Okay. So
It's another.
yeah. So that's a different topic on how to, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're asking about how to handle that situation if your higher up doesn't treat you well. Is that right?
I think what Adam is asking is more of a question of equity.
Okay. But in what sense?
And it's difficult for me to feel this way when my superiors are treating me badly.
Okay.
So it's difficult for me to look the same way to my inferiors.
So it's a slightly different thing because we're not talking about two parties, and he's a third party. So he's saying that he treats the people below him well. So I believe the people below, right? Yeah.
What happens if you
treats him well.
now what I'm not sure about is whether he's asking about how he should treat that higher up, or whether it's unfair, or
it can be a different topic. Or
Adam, you want to add light to that?
Yeah.
But when I see him, I can associate straight away because working at an organization, which always happens.
Yeah.
Where you may treat your own people right, but you felt being treated unfairly by your superiors.
Mm-hmm.
A quick answer I would respond to Adam will be continue to do the right thing, and the right
Yeah.
thing will be,
Great,
God's
great.
principles.
So-
That would be a quick answer for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want to just start there, without going into because of how they treat you. Just start with, how should I start? My motivation should be to love my neighbor. Go from there. All right. Okay. Now let's go on to the problems. Okay. Prepare some Panadol. Firstly, this is my opinion, objective opinion. Okay, and I've tried to rack my brain around this so much. In my opinion, if I were to evaluate this with the other things the Bible teaches, the golden rule seems to be incredibly flawed, very flawed. And here's why. Now, yes, it would work in many situations, basic situations, like, okay, I wouldn't want people to bully me, so I shouldn't bully others. Now, think of this. My girlfriend likes big parties. I like small parties. So it's her birthday now. Treat others as I would like them to treat me. If I treat her as I would like to be treated, I would plan a small party. You see the problem?
Yeah.
Second, workplace. Okay. Yeah. I may like to be very friendly in the workplace, very casual, but my bosses may prefer to be more formal. But I should treat others as how I want them to treat me, casually. You see the problem?
Yeah.
Third, cross-cultural. Muslim women, in especially some Muslim cultures, is very disrespectful to shake a married woman's hand. Let's say you're Westerner, you're used to shaking hands. I want to treat others as how I want them to treat me. You shake a hand, problem. Do you see how problematic this can be?
Or you could be dealing with a
Okay.
It's not problematic at all.
Okay.
It might be.
Okay. And here's why. Because how the root of this principle is found on what you think how you think people should be treated, but based on what you like or what you think is great. And the problem is when your view on it and when what you want and what other people want is different, especially when you don't know. Of course, there's an area of wisdom you need. Like, okay, say the marriage one, the girlfriend and I thing. I want to. You can bring it higher with more wisdom. I should plan her birthday because I want my birthday to be planned with consideration to me and what I like. So I should plan her birthday with consideration to what she likes. Okay, then problem solved. But the problem still persists because you are basing how you treat others on how you think they want to be treated. No, how you want to be treated. I'll give you more examples. They're serious. Humans tend to be prideful, right? We don't like to be corrected. Okay, so I don't like to be corrected, but we're supposed to be corrected. We're supposed to be teachable, humble. I don't want to be corrected, so I don't correct others. Well, let's say my desire is to be flirted with by this girl, or this girl to flirt with me in a very sexual way. Okay, not me, but let's say guy A. And so he does that. He thinks it's okay to be to behave a certain way that's sinful, basically. But he desires that. He desires to be treated a certain way that's sinful. And so he does the same, or he thinks it's okay. So there are problems here. And of course, if you have wisdom, you can handle these. But the problem is, it bases it on our desires. And our desires, human desires, tend to be sinful. That's the problem. It's basing off what you think is good. Yes.
Your last example is the best example. The one that you're talking about, I think that is the best example. I think that is very clear on the error of what this is talking about.
Thank you. I wanted to build up because the first part you can wisdom. Yeah, you can solve it here, wisdom.
Missing but the last one is the
Yeah. So the problem is it's based off what you desire, and you may desire the wrong thing. That's the danger, and you may not know it. You see, that's a huge problem. And my difficulty with this is, why would Jesus, one, say this with so many exceptions to it, so many caveats? Like, you would have to think about so many things. You need to have so much more understanding to apply correctly. And then he sums it up as the whole law and the prophets. He sums it up as the whole law of the prophets. And when you compare it to other summaries he gives, the other one, love the Lord and love your neighbor, it's just that one is so much better, so much more applicable to every situation, that this one seems like, why? You're such a perfect God, very wise God. Why would you say this? Because there's so many problems that can arise. If I apply this to how I treat people, my life could go haywire if I don't have the right understanding of what God says is desirable. So what I think would be how we should treat this, that would be in alignment with the rest of what the Bible teaches, is we should treat others as the Bible said, as the Bible teaches we should. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, but I think, but because this is God, that can't be the case. Sometimes we come to the Bible verse or some passage and we see something that doesn't make sense to us, and we go, "Oh, contradiction! Christianity is a myth." Yeah, but no. So if God is real, then our natural assumption is that is His word is perfect. So there's something more to this, or we're not getting something. Okay. Yeah. So do you see the problems with this now? Next part is, how on earth does this fit into the premise? How does this sum up the entirety of the Sermon on the Mount? Because many of the other passages is not referring to how you want to be treated. It's referring to how God wants you to treat others, and it's often in conflict with how you want to be treated. For example, judging others. Right? It's not something we want. We don't want to be corrected. That's not our natural tendency. So why would Jesus summarize it this way?
Sorry, I missed you on that. The judgment others.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yes.
You
Okay,
were
basically, the point of chapter 7, 1 to 5 is that his main point in the whole passage is, before you judge others, you need to judge yourself. First, you need to get right, and then you go and help your brother. But you must go judge others. But first, you need to make sure you're doing it. Basically, you need to judge others biblically, fairly, in loving way, for the right motivation. You need to take care of yourself first, then you can go and help your neighbor. That's the whole point. But then, of course, there's a caveat. If you think that they will not respond well, the Gentiles or whatever, they don't care about righteousness, don't go waste your time and give them correction. Okay? Just to sum it up very quickly.
Yeah, no point.
Because it's 6:30. All right, so
6:30.
do you see the problems with this? So how could this principle with so many exceptions summarize? Sorry, yes?
We can clarify during dinner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this one? Okay. All right. So you see all the problems? So I don't think that it is a conclusion for the whole Sermon on the Mount. One, that's one. Number two, in my opinion, okay, so what I say now, take as my opinion, okay? Not the correct interpretation. What my opinion is that this is just a general blanket statement for love your neighbor. That's it. That's it. It's not meant to be a specific rule you apply. but it's just a blanket statement. Secondly, okay, this is important. So in Luke 6, this is in context of loving your neighbor and turning the cheek. That's why I asked you to watch that. So he loving your enemies and turning the cheek. So first he starts with loving your enemies, bless those who curse you, all that. And then he says, then treat others as you want them to treat you. Then he goes on with turning the cheek and all that. So that makes sense in that context. That sums it up. I mean, that's part of loving your neighbor. But here is about asking to be given to you. So why would he say this? So in my opinion, the most possible interpretation is this. Okay, because it's so difficult to love others, to do what's right, what the Bible says is right, to understand and grow in righteousness, ask God for strength, and trust that he'll give it to you. And for sure, he will give it to you. And because he gives good gifts to his children, gifts that will help them grow, because of that, therefore, love your neighbor. Therefore, treat others as you would have them treat you. For this is the law and the prophets. And this is the part where I would disagree with a lot of people. I think it's possible that this fulfills the law and the prophets is not a summary of this. Okay? But the whole thing. So the whole Sermon on the Mount so far. So from the start, the inclusio. So not that he's saying that, so that treating others as you would have them treat you fulfills the law and the prophets, but rather all the things I've said. And then it's so tough, ask the Lord for strength, he will give it to you. And because he'll give you strength, go and love your neighbor. This fulfills the law and the prophets. I think that's possible. The Greek does not negate that. It is possible. I don't know how true it is. It's a possibility. Okay?
If I hear what you're saying is,
Yeah.
for this is the law and the prophets agrees. The answer to ask and it will be given to you.
Yes,
And so whatever you wish to do is
not just from there, but the whole thing. So because yes, here's why. If we say it's meant to sum up, so whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them. This doesn't make so much sense. Why? That's a therefore. Therefore this, do this therefore, because it's but I think it's more possible that this is a summary for the whole passage. Both are possible, but I think it's more likely. I think that would make more sense.
Therefore is for the whole passage.
Yes,
Okay.
not just this chapter, because I think that would be make more sense.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But no one takes this view from what I've read. Yes.
No one takes this view.
Not many.
So yeah.
They do say that, what they say is that treating others as you want them to treat you summarizes the whole Sermon on the Mount, or it summarizes the whole law and the prophets. I don't think that's what it's saying. I think that it's saying, this is the proper interpretation of how to treat others. It's very difficult. Okay, ask God and it'll give you strength. And because it'll give you strength, treat others as you have them treat you. Just blanket statement for love people, like do it. And then this fulfills the law and the prophets. Okay, NET, right?
Or you can just type it into the search bar.
Oh. Yeah, this is, okay, thank you. So that would completely change, not completely, but that would change how we should view this passage. So then we shouldn't be applying this if that interpretation is correct. So just take it with a pinch of salt because it's a possible interpretation. We can't prove it for sure. So if that is the case, if what I think is more likely is the case, that would change it. That means you're not supposed to apply the golden rule so severely or so stringently in your life. No, that's not the point of it. Then that means what he's saying is he's firstly clarifying all the misunderstandings of the Old Testament and telling people this is how you should live. Love your enemies, regardless of how they treat you. How can you say you love God? How can you how can you do all these things, worship God, and then you slap your neighbor in the face? Do you only greet those who are your friends? Even unbelievers do that. The worst people in the world do that. What makes you different from that? That's the love your enemies part. What makes you different from others? Be like God. Love both the unjust and the just, those who treat you badly and those who treat you well, those who deserve it and those who don't deserve it. Judge others biblically. Don't do it out of condemnation. Don't do things out of pride. There's a whole section on pride. This is how you should pray. This is how you should live. Difficult? Okay, ask God for strength, and God will give you strength. But you need to trust that God will give you strength. This is what he's saying. Ask God for strength. He will give it to you. You must trust God for strength. That is actually the whole point of salvation. Jesus came to help us do what is right, to save us from sinning. Not from hell. Hell is a result of it. But the main point is to save us from sin, doing what's wrong. Trust in that, and he will help you. And because he will help you, go and love your neighbor. Go treat others as you would have them treat you. Put yourself in their shoes. Do what's right. This is the whole point of the Old Testament, all along. And it's the same in the New Testament. That's the whole point. It's difficult to do what's right, but this is how you should do it. We all fail. Ask God for strength. Trust in the Lord that he has saved you from sin, and he will bear fruit in you. And so, go and bear fruit. Go and love others. Go and preach the world. Love your family. Protect them. Care about people. Stop making your life about you. Make it about God and others. That is the point, in my opinion. And so, that is what I'd like you to take away.
I think CEV would be the best version to reflect what you think.
CEV? Okay. All right. Thanks.
They separated into two sentences.
Okay.
You can just type it in.
It won't show up necessarily. Yeah, CEV. Okay. All right. Thank you. So everyone understand? Oh yeah, I probably should have explained that in Greek, comma or full stop doesn't matter. Because there is no such thing as comma or full stop. Yeah, they don't have that in Greek, so it doesn't matter. So everyone understand?
Yeah.
Yes? So that's the point. So let's not teach this as the golden rule, but rather when we bring this up, we say that this is how you're supposed to live this way. It's very difficult. So you need to ask God for strength. Just ask you for strength, and then so go do it. Trust in him for strength and go do it. Trust in him. He can help you. Or if they ask you, this is also good. If someone asks you, what is the point of the Old Testament? Or is the Old Testament different from the New Testament? You can say, you can explain it this way. Yeah? Because this is what sums up the Old Testament, the law and the prophets. All right?
This whole
Yes.
so
far, that's my interpretation. I think that's what makes most sense. The others, I don't think are substantial. I think there are too many problems with it. It's possible I'm wrong. So know that it's possible I'm wrong. So take it with a pinch of salt. But you evaluate it. You have a responsibility to evaluate it and see what you think is biblical. Okay, and apply it to the best you can with God's strength.
Yeah,
See,
one thing I do agree is that this, as you said, it is something that everyone knows. It seems easily understood. However, it is flawed because it can be root of many issues too. Root of many problems when you do not interpret it and apply it with the right context. Yeah.
I've watched many videos.
Yes. Yeah. So having lived almost 60 years, I think.
You can see the issues that bring up workplace, right? Workplace, especially.
It's workplace, even.
Yes. So online, I researched for different cases of problems with the golden rule. The most two common areas is cross-cultural, workplace. It's so problematic. It's so problematic. So, but that's because it's possible we're missing the point. Okay. All right. So any questions? All right, then let's pray. Father, thank you for this time we have to learn your word and learn what the Old Testament, law and the prophets are about. And Father, in light of that, knowing how amazing your law was. May we not think less of it, like it's worse than the New Testament or outdated. But Father, there was beauty in the law you gave. The point of what you taught back then and now has always been the same. It's about doing what's right and trusting in you for strength to do that, loving you and loving our neighbor. Father, may you please give us strength. May we not just be hearers of this word, but doers as well. May we choose by your strength to do what's right. May this change the way we live our lives. And may you not allow us to continue in apathy, Father, but to care, to give a straw, to really care about these things and see the need for them, the importance of them in our lives and other people's lives. And Father, may you also help us to grow in our understanding of the word in general, of how to interpret what you say, and also the willingness to put those things into practice. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay, and that's it.